Imhotep Museum opened to public on 20th of April 2006, and its theme is to display the most significant artifacts that was discovered on Saqqara site. من الدسوقي Nile cruise.
Welcome back. You're still watching us here on Nile Cruise. Let me tell you a little bit about Imhotep himself. He was an architectural genius who also made major advances in sculpture as well as various fields of medicine, becoming one of the most famous architects in ancient Egyptian and world history. Now, Imhotep was the first doctor who was ever known in human history, and he invented many medications as well as drugs used to cure a large number of diseases. He was also the first architect in historical record and the first to use stone columns in his various constructions. In ancient Egypt, Imhotep constructed the first pyramid in Egypt, the step of pyramid of Zoser, and a whole complex around the pyramid. And that's what makes this museum very special, because it holds a lot of his architectural designs and discoveries, and also the first mummy for the Old Kingdom's king. And to shed further light about this museum, we have joining with us Dr. Mamdouh Farouk. He's Imhotep's museum director. Thank you for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you. You are welcome here in our museum.
Thank you very much for hosting us, Dr. Farouk. Now, would you please tell us when and why this museum was built, shedding light on Imhotep's role in the area of Saqqara?
First of all, this amazing idea was started with Jean-Philippe Louer, the French architect who lived in Egypt for 25 years and was interested to excavating and restoring the Zoser complex at pyramids. So he wanted to establish a new style of a museum that gathering all collection of the treasure of Saqqara. But unfortunately, he died at 2002, and he didn't complete this museum. After then, Dr. Zahawas is completed and resumed this Imhotep museum, and it's called Imhotep Museum. It related to the first one in the world who was architect and a doctor that invented a new style of architecture that was built by stone. We are so lucky here that we work in a museum that was named Imhotep, that is related to the Saqqara treasures.
Yes. Now, Dr. Farouk, in your view, what makes this museum different or very special compared to other breeds of museums?
This museum is named as a site museum. Site museum is related all the collection and the treasures that discovered from Saqqara. That all here, all collection and the object and the masterpieces discovered from Saqqara. That is gave its impression or it's different from every or any museum here. That was site management like Talibasta Museum, like many museum in Egypt. Okay, it's a specific museum, not grand museum like Egyptian Museum or Grand Egyptian Museum. So we have here some unique and rare masterpieces that dating back to 3,000 and 4,000 years ago. That's very interesting and related to discoveries that started from the 19th century.
Dr. Mamdouh, many people claim that the tomb here in Saqqara is fake. What can you say about these accusations?
About
that the tomb in Saqqara is fake?
No.
Yeah, but it's a good opportunity because you're the director of the museum to clarify where this is coming from.
How come in the amazing archaeological sites that can make a fake tombs? This was a nonsense, and it's a word spoken by some people don't know about the nature of our site. Saqqara is very important as a cemetery. We cannot make any fake building or fake monuments at all.
Yes. Dr. Farouk, Imhotep is considered one of the most skilled, if not the most skilled, architect of ancient Egypt. And some even say that he is credited with the idea of erecting the tombs of the kings and queens in the pyramid area we see today. Could you expand on that, please?
At the reign of the king Djoser, who reigned Egypt at 2,256 years ago. So, before Christianity, Imhotep lived in the house of this king. And the king loved him so much. So he entitled him to build a new style for his tomb. Every king in Egypt wanted to make or to build a new style and a huge pyramid. At the first style of the state pyramids, and then King Khufu and Khafra and Menkaura and Snefru built other pyramids. But that started from the one mastaba or one thing to the sixth mastaba. Imhotep appears more titles as a vizier or minister of the king. He is the first one under the king. He is a priest, a religious man, and architect and doctor. And he first one to invented a stone to build a new style of the pyramid stone or pyramid Djoser complex in Egypt. So he is magnificent, and he was deified later after his death 1,000 years. So some people in Egypt made a small statue from bronze for him. He was comparable for the god of the medicine at the Greek time, or New Greek time, Asclepius. And they believe that he can cure everyone his diseases about everything. That was defined later as the Greek-Roman history. So it's very important that Imhotep, he was described and mentioned after his death 1,000 years.
That's very good to have someone who's an architecture and good in medicine as well. These are two different schools, must be very brilliant and talented. Tell us about the discoveries, the archaeological discoveries and the excavations in Saqqara, please, Doctor.
Saqqara didn't reveal everything. We have discovered some amazing tombs here, and the last excavations was done at 2020 to when the Egyptian Museums expeditions discovered 100 coffin of wooden coffin of mummies that was in a shaft underground in the shaft. That very interesting things that we have discovered some mummified cats, mummified animals like crocodiles, like ibis, and the cats. That's the sacred animals that were buried inside the Saqqara cemetery to give a blessing and to protecting all the site, all the area. So they believe that there is a sacred soul inside these animals, that from the God, the creator. They believed in the what God, and his qualification and his adjectives that were inside the soul and spirit of the animals. So we have here Saqqara, a magnificent cemetery that period from the first dynasty to the third dynasty and the Greek-Roman, because every king believes that Saqqara is one piece of afterlife, that everyone, when the king buried inside Saqqara, he will resurrected again, is a sacred and holy place in the beliefs of ancient Egypt.
Yes. Now, Dr. Farouk, how to raise awareness of Egyptians about the significance of cultural tourism and tourism in general, in your view? What's the best way to approach that? And to publicize our treasures?
You know that museum or archaeological sites, some people or inhabitants surrounding this museum, that no awareness how to deal with civilization of ancient Egypt. So some children or some people believe it is treasures only to buy and sell. Not this is a heritage of our ancestors, that we make some courses training for them, for children and women and men, that it reflects what significance of the ancient Egyptian civilizations, that how when they grow up, how to deal with the museum and archaeological sites, not to be looters, not to be thieves, about to thieve or to play with this masterpiece or these objects, that we have to do to make awareness about our surrounding people that inhabitants on the world around this museum and around. Every museum, like or sites like Giza pyramids, Naz Saman around this one, and we can talk about some museum and archaeological sites in Tel Basta, in the Gazik, in Sharqiya, and in Luxor. The houses of peoples around this area. How to keep it and maintain these sites and the museum with a little or the more awareness from the people.
Now, there's, I mean, I believe at least in schools where my son is, they would teach him about archaeological sites and ancient Egypt. It's important for students to be integrated and to know more about the heritage, because it's not just, as you said, treasures and monuments. It's also history. And I mean, Imhotep, who would have known that he was so popular and very good in architecture and medicine if it wasn't for knowing more about his life during this dynasty. But to arrange school trips, and I believe this is also a plan and collaboration between the Ministry of Antiquities and the Ministry of Education. Do you have any idea about these trips and how that would help encourage students to know more about their ancient life here in Egypt?
I got your point. The Ministry of Antiquities started to do that. That was a cultural department in the Ministry office cooperated with us to make some school trips in different sites in Egypt, museum or archaeological sites. That started from, I think that 5 years ago, that was started. That was as a positive or positive point that was started from the Ministry of Antiquities. School trips. We here in the museum, we started or launched a new initiative. It's called Imhotep School for teaching hieroglyphics and ancient Egyptian civilization. How they know the magnificent or significance of ancient Egypt. We know that all the education or schools about the Ministry of Education, in school, they teaching them history and some events and something, but they have to visit the origin sites, origin museum to see and watch the masterpieces and the heritage of all life. That's very important. So we have here make some school trips for the children from different ages. That the schools around Imhotep Museum, from Badrashin, from Abu Sir, Dahshur, and different ideas. And we have cooperated with the European Union in this museum to support us in this initiative. That we according to our abilities, we do that.
Yes. Now, Dr. Farouk, what are the markets interested in cultural tourism here in Egypt? I mean, most of the visitors that you get in your museum, for instance, where do they come from?
You mean markets are countries
Yes.
that interested in cultural
Yes.
means? Yes. We have some nationalities that interested in cultures and the other nationalities interested in entertainment. So we have Germany, France, England, okay, and Japan, China. They are interested how to gain knowledge from their tours. So we have here in Cairo that some different cultural from Islamic and Greek, Roman, and ancient Egyptian.
Coptic.
Yes, and the Coptic, everything. That we, some other nationalities, that concentrated or focused on the beach entertainment or tourism that was located at Al-Ghirgada and Sharm el-Sheikh. So here, Germany and France and England, Japan, China, okay, because I was a tour guide for some years, that I dealt with them that very interested, and they wanted to know more information about what the history around these masterpieces, those markets. But we have to focus on the market in Latin America. Latin America, Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil. That's this is. We have to focus on them because this, we have a shortage, or we have not a less or less promoting tourism at these sites, at these countries. We have to do that with the Ministry of Antiquities and Tourism.
Yes. Doctor, since the inauguration of this museum in 2006, can you say that now this museum has become popular in the list of destinations? Because when visitors come and visit Egypt, they usually have the ordinary list for sightseeing and so forth, especially as Egypt is a very big country, so there's beach tourism, there is cultural tourism, there is even medical tourism now. Apart from if there's sports events, of course, you know that. Mohammed, or conferences. So to include the long list, because there's a lot of museums, as you've correctly said, in Egypt. So it's very difficult to choose what to put in and what to postpone for later trips. Let's talk more about where this museum falls into. I know Saqqara is a very popular area, so definitely whoever would come to Saqqara to see the pyramids also would come and see Imhotep's museum. So, but how has that changed, I mean, since 2006, the placement of this museum or area on the list of visits and destinations?
This is very nice. This is destination is very important, as you said. That is, the Saqqara is destination that is comparable to Giza Pyramids Plateau. So we have here. You know that you said that some tourists interested in tournament beach tourism and so on. So we have here to attract. It's very difficult to attract a new kind of tourist that interested in cultural. So we have to make combination between giving information and make something entertainment. We have here in Imhotep Museum virtual the cinema that display a movie in English and Arabic. That here is a virtual hall that we that interested how to know from movie what's information about Saqqara. Imhotep Museum is a cultural point that is connect between Saqqara sites and this site. So we have here in museum is a house that gave some impression about how Egyptian will live at their times. So we have here some museum, you know that there were some integration of some museum, Sharm el-Sheikh Museum and Kafr el-Sheikh Museum and some. This museum is a the cultural point that connect or related between the community, okay, and the impact of the heritage.
We understand that one of the movies, the one in English, is narrated by the famous Hollywood star Omar al-Sharif, right?
Omar al-Sharif and Dr. Zah Hawass. At 2006, they made a magnificent movie here. It's displayed for every visitor here who went the enter inside Imhotep Museum. And later, there is some developments that will be done in Imhotep Museum. About more movies, more programs, more planning about to promote more in Imhotep Museum.
Yes, Dr. Mamdouh Farouk, Imhotep's Museum Director, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's an honor to me to host you.
Thank you for hosting us, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Farouk.
Thank you.
And we're still here at Imhotep's Museum, and we still have more to tell you about this very special place. But let's go out to this short report and to get to know more about the Saqqara area in general, and we'll be right back.
Saqqara is located 40 kilometers southwest of Cairo. Saqqara is one of the most important cemeteries